Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Harvey, author of the Conspiracy series. Welcome to my channel. Today we have some exciting news. On my website I announced last week the title for the third and final book in the Conspiracy series. It is going to be The Killers Make So. We're talking about my website. Make sure you are watching that because that is where I'm going to be announcing the cover for The Killers. I'm super excited for you guys to see that. So you definitely want to be watching my website. But let's talk about my books first. So I'm 15 and I published 2 books, The Conspiracy and The Lead. They are linked in the description below and on my website, which we have already talked about. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel because you're going to get like all the updates on like other books coming out, when The Killers is coming out, behind the scenes things. So definitely make sure you are subscribed and leave any comments and questions that you have for me because I do love reading them and I do love responding to you guys. And let's get into the video talking about what to title your book. So, like I said in the intro, the title for my third book has been announced. It is going to be The Killers. And so I'm going to be talking about why I titled all 3 of my books, The Conspiracy, The Lead, and The Killers. I'm going to be talking about why I did that and just some helpful tips for you guys. If you have not read my books, you want to buy them and read them now because we are going to be talking about them and I hate spoiling anything for you and I don't want you to be mad at me for spoiling. So please just read those. That's really going to help me out. And it's going to help you so you know what I'm talking about. So your title needs to fit in with your genre. So nonfiction, oftentimes like memoirs, you can title it after like the event, and like I'm not going to go into that because I don't really have a lot of experience titling in there, but I am going to stick with my genre, which is my umbrella genre, which is fiction. So you really want to focus on your title when you are titling a book, because like everyone says, don't judge a book by its cover, don't judge a book by its title, but like really, that's exactly what we do. We're not going to pick up a book with a boring title or a book with a boring cover. We need so as writers, we need to come up with good titles that people are actually going to want to read. So all 3 of my books, they pose some kind of mystery to them. So The Conspiracy, The Lead, The Killers, they all sound kind of mysterious, and that is what pretty much overarches the entire conspiracy series. That is kind of what ties all of the books together. So there's I like to say there are 2 main plots in this. So there's the one that travels through the first 2, and then there's the third book that kind of ties up loose ends, and honestly that book is it's amazing. I love it so much. There's so much character development in the third book, so you're definitely going to want to buy it when it comes out. October 13th this year. So in fitting with the genre, you need to figure out what your reader wants. So if you're targeting teens, mystery, so for me, I'm targeting like teens, mystery, action. So my 3 books, their titles all fit within that. Now, if you're thinking about more like fantasy, then you can go with like magic spells, or a book I really love is Graceling. I will leave a link to it in the description, but it is such an amazing book. I read it in 6th grade. It was a reading assignment and I love it so much. Definitely recommend you read it. But that title, so there's a little bit of magic thrown in there. I don't really know how to explain it without spoiling it. But it is a really good read, but that is targeting the correct audience. So it's a teen fiction book, has magic, it's a fantasy, and that is going to grab the correct audience. So when you are looking at it, you need to think, what do your readers want to see? So if your readers want to see a title like Graceling, then you should title it like Graceling. If you want it to be, if your readers and your target audience wants to be more like The Conspiracy, you should target it more like The Conspiracy. And you definitely need to like look into what is selling well in your genre and what do people want to see out of your genre and what you are publishing. So the next one, it has to fit in with your series. So not everyone here is publishing a series, but I did. I am publishing a trilogy. I published the first two, and obviously the third one's coming out next month. But if you are publishing a series, your books need to fit together. And so, for example, so the conspiracy was always going to be the conspiracy. That was kind of like an expectation, but the titles for the next two books, that's where it differs. So the original title for the lead was The Fugitive Train. So if you have read the book, you can probably understand it. The Iris and Nick are on trains a lot. In the original manuscripts, they were on trains a lot more, and the trains were like a much more important part of the story, so that kind of makes sense, but it doesn't really fit with the conspiracy. So you have the conspiracy, you have the fugitive train. They seem two very different things. Like, if I had ended up titling it The Fugitive Train, it might have been less obvious how different it is, but they are two very different things, and they're going to communicate two very different things, and it doesn't scream I'm in a series that way. So, and then The Killers, the original title was The Broken Crown. So, that doesn't fit in with the series. Now, it does fit in with the books, and it does fit in more with the original manuscript. The original manuscript for The Killers, that was a lot more focused on the king, queen, monarch thingy that is going on within the Order of Olympus. If you don't know what I'm talking about, link in the description to my books. Make sure you check those out. So that was so The Killers is originally going to focus a lot more on that. You'll see it does evolve a lot more. So it did fit in with the original manuscript. It did not, however, fit in with the series. Now think about the conspiracy. You have the conspiracy, you have the lead, and then you have the Broken Crown. That just seems like a completely different series. Seems like something completely different that has nothing to do with the conspiracy and the lead. Now if we had gone with The Fugitive Train, that could have tied in better. But we didn't, and there are just like a lot of reasons for that, which I do address in this, and I have addressed previously, but it just wouldn't really fit in with the series. So in the end with The Killers, we did focus more on the murder aspect of the series. As you can tell with the title, so we did focus more on that aspect of the series as opposed to the monarch, that is the Order of Olympus, and then there was a lot more like fight scenes with the Alliance, which, believe me, they were so cool, but they didn't really fit in with like what I ended up going with, but it's so cool. Oh my gosh, guys, someday I'm going to make a video like talking about the original manuscripts for these books, and it is going to be so freaking cool. So another thing you really need to focus on with your titles is making it short and easy to remember. So The Fugitive Train, that is a longer title. Now there are some books like this one, The Book of Unknown Americans. I had to read this for school. It is a longer title, but it is easier to remember. The Book of Unknown Americans it kind of easily rolls off your tongue. Now, if you are writing a non-fiction book like this one, Castleloma, Canada's Fairy Tale Castle and its owner, Sir Henry something, this is a good title for this book. So you have the main title, but you can also have a subtitle, and that is going to be Canada's Fairy Tale Castle, etc. So this book is a non-fiction. It is talking about Castleloma. It's in Canada. I went there a few years ago with my family. So it talks about, for example, this is the Oak Room. So it talks about like the room, how it was furnished, And then later on it talks about the people there and the people who live there. So you have your main title. This is going to be the easy to remember part. This is going to be the information part. This is going to be the part that you're going to need to remember when it's like, okay, so Casa Loma, easy to remember. Then it talks about what you're going to learn in the book. So it's going to talk about Canada's fairy tale castle and its owner, and then it says the name of the owner. Now this part is talking about what you're going to learn. That's good for a nonfiction book. So like this one where it's like a tour of Casa Loma, an autobiography, a biography, a historical event. That's going to be good for that type of book. Now, like I said, we are talking more about fiction books in this video, so having shorter titles like Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis, The Whipping Boy, The Star of Del Toro. Now, all of these books have shorter titles. They are not going to be like super long, and it's not going to be Greek mythology, a captivating guide to the ancient gods, goddesses, heroes, and monsters. This is just a book like explaining. You heard me say the title. Again, I had to read this for school last summer. You want shorter titles, something easy to remember, something that people are going to go back to and like, hey, I read this book, I remember this title. Another thing, make sure you are Googling your title. So you don't want to end up with 2 books with the same title, or one book with 2 books with the same title, one book that is really taking off and the other one that's just kind of in its wake because there are 2 different titles. So that second book that's not going to have all of the footwork, that isn't going to do as well as the first one because it already has its own fame and its own pedestal. So you need to find something different. For example, another possible title for the lead was The Runaways. But there is another series called The Runaways, so I couldn't go with that because then the lead would be overshadowed by this other book series, The Runaways. Another thing to think about, one-word titles. So we have The Conspiracy, The Lead, The Killers. So if you just take away the, it's Conspiracy, Lead, Killers. So those are basically one-word titles. They're easy to remember, and you don't have to remember like something algebra. You guys are saying on one of my algebra textbooks, so that's why. And another thing, don't name your books after Taylor Swift songs. Please don't. By the way, if you haven't seen my Taylor Swift writing challenge video, it's linked up there. Just don't. I know, but don't, okay? Be original. Just be original, guys. In general, being original is a good thing. Make sure you are being original. I swear it's going to help you guys so much. And finally, if all else fails, character names. We aren't talking about politics and what J.K. Rowling is doing right now. But Harry Potter. That's for the entire series, and that is the main character's name. Now, obviously, you have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That is a longer title, which I know I warned you against, but Harry Potter, this part is going to be easy to remember, and it's going to carry through the whole series. And you can say the first Harry Potter book. And again, you already had the character name. It's a really great choice. You should definitely consider character names if you are at a loss. And that's kind of all I have for you guys, so thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Make sure to leave any comments you have and questions because I will be doing a Q&A for you guys in the near future. Make sure to buy my 2 books, The Conspiracy and The Lead. Again, The Killers is coming out on October 13th. So make sure you are buying that when it comes out because, like I said, I talk about them a lot on this channel, and you heard in this video that I talk about it a lot, and now you're out of the loop. So make sure you buy them, and make sure you're watching my website because that is where I am going to be posting the cover for the Killers. That is where I announced the title for the Killers, and that is where I announced the release date. So you definitely want to make sure you are watching that, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye. I don't love the lighting. I think my skin looks oh, Mary's welcome. Can we try that again, please? Title. I already announced the title. So